Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Ball Games. Here we have Maven on Beans on the play versus Reanimator. See Galta at the edge of the hand here. How will this hand be played? Bayou Go. Occasionally, Reanimator will use the discard step to get a fatty into the graveyard uncounterably, particularly versus a deck like Beans that can stop you from getting any reanimation targets. Of course, once you have a target in the graveyard, every reanimate, exhume, animate dead is a must counter, especially on a card like Galta that could potentially dump. Here you have Breton's hand. We see a Gristlebrand and all sorts of crazy stuff in there. If Galta were to enter, it would virtually end the game on the spot. Grief is going to try and poke a hole in Maven's hand, find a way through. And, ooh, rest down, force a will. Not great. The Swords to Plowshares is that secret lair looking card. You have a Dark Ritual. Does have a dress down ready to go. Zoom. This is not going to work out. We've already seen the hands here. Dress down. That is going to stop Galta's triggered ability. Not going to be getting any other cards onto the battlefield. Just a 12-12. And Maven already has the Swords to Plowshares to take care of it if he wants to. Burrow. Digs. No land. And Maven actually opting to take the hit. Not actually swordsing on Breton's turn. I'm actually not sure why. Was that not a Swords to Plowshares? I thought it was a Swords to Plowshares. Guess we'll see here. Cave Troll is cycled. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Land for turn. Tomb. Burrow. Nearly ready to emerge from the graveyard. Escape cost. Archon. Found off of Entomb. And Breton's firing off a Reanimate. That gets Force of Willed. Galta swings, and now the Swords to Plowshares. I actually don't know why he didn't fire that off previously. Maybe his fetch land couldn't have found a Tundra? That actually seems unlikely. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you have theory on that one. As it is, Maven with a fistful of duels and a fistful of cards. Breton essentially an empty board. So the graveyard is primed. Ready to do some damage. Burrow's looking to just run away with this game. So it's going to take a while to actually close it out. Once you get to the point where you've got a couple of cards that can interact with Reanimator. Wow. So Exhume happens. Killing Uro. Not actually expect that to happen. Swords to Plowshares kills or exiles Archon. Breton up to 41. Gained literally 21 life. off of Swords to Plowshares and the Archon trigger. And now 4th Aerlingus. That is going to take away some life, but more importantly, establish the Monarch. Haven is going to be outdrawing Breton 2-1. Every turn that he doesn't make something happen, it becomes less and less likely he'll be able to pull himself back into this game. Fourth. It's a incredible evolution of finishers for control. I mean, Entreat the Angels used to be the control finisher. This is just so much more versatile. And now Triumph of St. Catherine, a card that really wasn't immediately adopted, largely because it wasn't available in Magic Online. Hard time just syncing up their digital and paper releases. Not the type of hand that you're hoping to see. Trying to disrupt your opponent. All sorts of ponders. I mean, I suppose if you were using a Cabal Therapy here, you'd be thrilled. But as it stands, each one of those can convert itself into what is actually needed in the moment. So, Maven's hand kind of torn to shreds, but no follow-up. And Breton's dead on the next turn. It's got the ponders. Might as well try and find some interaction. End step Entomb. Ending Archon. Guess that means is a Reanimate in hand. And that's going to do it. No, he's just hoping to draw something relevant off the top. I guess Archon makes Reanimate better as compared to Gristlebrand. Not even sure. No, I don't think that's true. Reanimator felt like it was on its back foot the whole time. Saw some matches earlier with Rodney, falling as low as 5. Still putting tremendous pressure right out of the gate. We'll see if this is a better 7. Reanimator this time. Flooded Strand, go. Oh no. Oh no. What is happening? Basic Swamp. And passing again. Got a Thoughtseize, which gets Flusterstormed, actually not allowing the information. Grief continues to push. 5 cards in hand. Get to see just nothing that you want to see. And none of that is particularly good for Reanimator. Force of Will gets taken, but Leyline Bindings, Terminus, Teferi, Dress Down. This is all very bad. Especially with Reanimator stuck on 1 land. Yeah, this is not looking like it was a keepable 7. I think one of the biggest things with Reanimator is mulling. And I would say that is the early game. Talking about chess, the early, mid, and late game for Reanimator. The opening hand selection really is the early game. I mean, that is major decision making. Not saying it's the most complicated in the world. You can certainly come up with some very useful heuristics to base your decisions off of and just kind of follow those. Not something that you have to tank every single time. And this is going to be a clean answer. It looks like we're going to have Dress Down plus Caracas. Oh, no, not even. He just Leyline Bindings it. Interesting. Dress Down and Leyline Binding instead of bouncing the Crystal Brand? Huh. Let me know if that makes sense to you. I would have just bounced it with Caracas. Dress Down and bounce it. Keep the Leyline Binding for future threats, but we'll see how this plays out. Towards the Plowshares. Different version. The Samurai version from Strixhaven. Leyline Binding, of course. Absolutely ridiculous with Beans. Namesake card, which I don't think we've seen yet. Breton Thoughtseizing himself. Trying to get a lethal, or at least threatening graveyard. Animate Dead. Fired off. Furies on board, ticking up. I mean, when you activate the Fury a second time, that just feels like game over. Surgical Extraction, denying another animation effect. Now, Animate Dead, this is the actual wording of the card. Worth noting that you can respond with a card like Leyline Binding, any type of disenchant effect, to get rid of the Animate Dead. And if you do, then the creature's not going to actually enter the battlefield at all. When it enters the battlefield, if it is on the battlefield, I think that's how it's currently wording. Yeah, if it's on the battlefield. So, intervening if. I'll have to make a video about the intervening if. Favorite nerdy things in Magic rules. Up the beanstalk. And now, pretty much, I mean, so many things that Maven might do from here on out are now going to have extra value. Even just bouncing Beans with Teferi feels like a game-winning play. Terminus. Taken by Reef, however, it goes to the graveyard. Was evoked. Now we have Sedgemoor Witch. Force a Negation and Force a Will, then key here. Beans is bounced and replayed, so just drawing off of Teferi, drawing off of Beans. Teferi's still very healthy amount of loyalty. Brainstorm to draw 3 more. I mean, I would not be thrilled in Breton's seat. At this point, you're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and hoping something sticks. Maybe your opponent completely whiffs. Maybe they get a phone call and they have to go into work. I mean, this is not great. Dark Ritual. Witherbloom Apprentice with 2 floating. Chain of Smog. I mean, presenting lethal. Making Maven have it, which he does. Force a Negation, shutting down the Chain of Smog. I mean, that would have been just straight up lethal. Chain of Smog repeatedly targeting Breton. Just needed an opening. And there really just hasn't been much in the way of openings. Maven continually putting on the pressure with drawing cards, making his land drops, pulling further and further ahead. Now Witherbloom returned to hand. Gets recast. Even brainstorms. He may force this, if he finds one, just to draw the extra card. Instead, Triumph. Setting a blistering fast clock now with Uro and Triumph. This is just going to get wrapped up real soon. Swords of Plowshares takes out the Witherbloom Apprentice. Breton dead on board. Lotus Petal, and he could throw out a chump blocker at best. Swing for lethal. Oh, is that not lethal? I thought it was 11. Oh, the Swords to Plowshares from the Apprentice gained him 2 life. I don't know if that was noted on screen. However, really just not much of a chance there. Breton is buried in an avalanche of card drawing from Maven's Means list, and Maven makes the top 8. Congrats.